The lightning shows my weakness, the thunder knows my secrets. The storm is like a brother, it knows me like no other. So let it rumble, let it roll, 'cause it's all I know. You can keep your calm and easy, but that peaceful life ain't for me. The harshest gales call out from the tree, like it can sense the reckless in me. And when the clouds roll in, it's like I'm home again. Don't need your safe and sound, let the rain come down. Let the rain come down. Let the rain come down. I see the waters rising with waves as strong as iron. My soul was born for running. The darkness is my compass, and I will follow where it goes, 'cause it's all I know. You can keep your sunshine story, but that peaceful life ain't for me. The harshest gales call out from the trees, like it can sense the reckless in me. And when the clouds roll in, it's like I'm home again. Don't need your safe and sound, let the rain come down. Let the rain come down. Let the rain come down. Sirens ring and run for shelter. I will chase that storm forever. The harshest gales call out from the trees, like they can sense the reckless in me. And when the clouds roll in, feels like I'm home again. Don't need your safe and sound, let the rain come down. Let the rain come down. So let the rain come down. Let the rain come down.
And let me get my sage lit here. Okay. Whoops. I backed into the leaf side. Sorry, my hair's wet from the shower. Okay. So today we got a lot to talk about. So how's everybody doing? What's going on with you today? Okay. So today, let's start with our fair use. Everything. Hi, H. Davis. How are you doing? Everything in this video is for learning purposes only. Just got off work an hour ago. That's good. I got my 6.34 mile bike ride in today because I'm riding for cancer. Okay. So, okay, our first thing, okay, we did our fair use. I gotta click this because if I don't, it won't let me do anything all day long. that Norton thing that is always coming up on there. Okay, so my title today is, Honey, What Did You Do to Your Parents? Sarah Grace Patrick. Do you know who that is? Do you know who Sarah Grace Patrick is? She's a 17-year-old girl from Georgia who unalived her mother and stepdad in the middle of the night, then went to bed, and then in the morning her 6-year-old sister found mother and stepdad, and she did the pity party, oh me, and then her real dad made her turn herself in. Long story short. Okay, so let's figure out what the long story is while we're here. That's what we come here to do, is figure out the long story. Okay, the links to every page is in the description. And this is from People magazine. It says, Georgia girl 17 accused of fatally popping mom and stepdad whose bodies were discovered by her 6-year-old sister. I'm doing really well, thank you. I'm doing really well. Are you doing well? Are you still running every day? It says Sarah Grace Patrick, 17, was arrested in Carroll County, Georgia on the suspicion that she unalived red rummed her mother and stepfather. Christina Brock, 41, and James Brock, 45, were found in their bedroom by their 6-year-old daughter on February 20th, 2025, according to a report. That was just this year. I'm glad you're well, H. Davis. You try to walk every day. That's good. That's good. Keep your muscles moving. Patrick turned herself in voluntarily, police confirmed, and the investigation is still ongoing with some arrests possible. 17-year-old girl in Georgia has been arrested and charged on the suspicion that she red rummed her mother and stepfather. On Tuesday, July 8th, the Carroll County, July 8th, there it is, once again, Amanda Panda's. Everything is happening on Amanda Panda's birthday. I don't know why. Okay, Tuesday, July 8th, Carroll County Sheriff's Office confirmed in a press conference that Sarah Grace Patrick voluntarily turned herself in for arrest in relation to the February 20, 2025 red rums of her mother, Kristen Brock, 41, and stepfather, James Brock, 45. A press release shared on Facebook said that the victims passed away of apparent pop wounds. The couple's bodies were discovered in their bedroom on Tyus Road, according to a reporting by a local outlet, WSB-TV, in February. Patrick was charged with 2 counts of red rum and 2 counts of aggravated assault. The press release cited mountains of physical and digital evidence and countless interviews as being what led to the charges. From the very moment 911 call was received, a relentless investigation began, one that would span months, consume thousands of hours, and require a full weight of local and federal law enforcement partnerships, the press release stated. Carroll County Sheriff's Office spokeswoman Ashley Halsey addressed the case during a press conference live stream on Facebook. Let's see if we can find that.
My name is Ashley Halsey. I'm the Communications Director for Carroll County. I serve as the Public Information Officer for the Carroll County Sheriff's Office. Before we get started, I would like to introduce the individuals behind me because they will play a role in today's press conference. We have Sergeant Jen Garman. She has been very pivotal throughout this investigation. We're very thankful for her and all of her hard work. We have lead investigator TJ Repetto, who has also been on the ground, boots on the ground pretty much throughout this whole investigation. We have Sergeant Kim Hope, who's over our Crimes Against Persons unit, who has led a phenomenal investigation.
I don't know if the cameraman knew what he was doing, but that's all backwards. Everything there is backwards. Even this writing behind this guy, it's all backwards. Even exit is backwards. They must have had their camera recording in reverse mode.
And really brought everything together. And then, of course, Lieutenant Jackson Lawrence, who also has kind of been a pivotal part of this investigation as well, making sure that everything's arranged and everything is flowing like it should. So as you all remember, I recognize many of you in this room that did come out on the scene that fateful day on February 20th. On the morning of February 20th, 2025, deputies with the Carroll County Sheriff's Office responded to a tragic scene at 1531 Carrollton Tyus Road. They discovered the bodies of James Brock, 45, and Kristen Brock, 41, both deceased from apparent gunshot wounds. From the very moment the 911 call was received, a relentless investigation began, one that would span months, consume thousands of man hours, and require the full weight of the...
I didn't know that this video would say everything I just read.
Local and federal law enforcement agency partnerships. Today, we can confirm that an arrest has been made in the case. Kristen Brock's 17-year-old daughter, Sarah Grace Patrick, has been taken into custody and charged with 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of aggravated assault in connection with the deaths of her mother and her stepfather. While the case has not remained in the public spotlight in recent months, the investigation has never gone silent. Led by investigator TJ Repetto, our team has pursued every lead, sifted through mountains of physical and digital evidence, conducted countless interviews, and collaborated with agencies such as the FBI, the GBI Crime Lab, and private forensic laboratories.
I think GBI Crime Lab is like, we've heard so much about TBI from Tennessee. It's like the Georgia Bureau of Investigation instead of like the Tennessee or Arkansas or Kansas or Missouri. And every state has a Bureau of Investigation.
In a world where television portrays crimes being solved in under an hour, the truth here is much more complex. Real justice takes time. Time to ensure that no detail is overlooked and no stone is not turned over. Sheriff Terry Langley, alongside Captain Guy Pope and Lieutenant Jackson Lawrence, has remained committed to ensuring that justice is served in this heartbreaking case. Their leadership, combined with the tireless dedication of our investigators, has brought us to this point today. We know the public has been eager for answers, and we want to be clear. So have we. But bringing forth the truth responsibly and thoroughly is our highest obligation. We are proud of the unwavering commitment shown by every member of the Carroll County Sheriff's Office, and we stand behind the process that has led us here today. Our prayers remain with the families of James and Kristen Brock, and especially with their young daughter who was home during this horrific crime. We also want to extend our heartfelt thanks to the community.
Now, why didn't the 6-year-old hear the gunshot? You would think she would have heard them, the sound, because that's not a quiet sound. If you're using a handheld or a long instrument, those are not quiet instruments. Now, I understand they do have silencers that can be put on them, but did she have that? Would a 17-year-old be able to get that? I don't know.
That has rallied for justice and has never given up hope. The pursuit of justice does not end today, however. It is very possible, because this remains an open and ongoing investigation, that more arrests and charges could be made. So with that, I will open this up to questions.
Has she been charged as an adult?
She has.
And any idea what her motive was when she did the confession?
We are still working with her diligently. Our investigators have been speaking with her.
Okay. So that's what the press conference has to say. And I lost my other page. I don't know why. So let's go back. All right. So next we're going to go to News Nation. I love News Nation. I don't know why I cannot think of her name. Ashley Banfield. Yes. I'm sorry. She is an excellent reporter. And the other guy that works with her, I'm sorry, I can't remember his name right now, but he fills in for her place when she's not able to do it, like when she has a day off or something. So let's listen to what she has to say.
Press conference. Ms. Halsey, it's great to have you. Thank you so much for joining me on the program tonight. Can I ask you, what was it that specifically led to the arrest of Sarah Grace Patrick this week after almost 6 months since the killings?
Well, as I'm sure you're aware, Ashley, covering
You'll hear
cases
it.
for so many years as you have.
Okay,
It doesn't happen
you have a good
overnight.
rest.
I know everybody from the very beginning wanted an arrest and wanted somebody taken into custody. I wish it was that simple. But there are mountains of evidence you have to go through. In the times that we live in today, not only do you have the forensic and the DNA evidence, but you also
She looks like a 12-year-old right there. Looks like a 12-year-old.
have a lot of digital evidence as well. And sometimes that takes a long time for those things to return from different labs and whatnot. So I can't give you the specifics on exactly what pieces of evidence led us to the arrest on Tuesday, but I can tell you that it was how we followed the case, how the evidence came to be, and that is what led us to the arrest of Sarah Grace on Tuesday.
So I totally get you. A lot of people these days think that, you know, murders are solved like they are on the TV shows, CSI and Forensic Files, and then they're not. It takes a lot longer. You're right. However, I will say this: arrests are usually fairly quick, especially when you have somebody who's a suspect who's 17, because the 17-year-olds aren't the most clever of the bunch. And that's why I was sort of flummoxed with the length of time it took. What kind of digital trail did you discover? I mean, have you got phones and laptops?
Well,
have you got tapped phones? Have you got just messaging? Like, what have you got?
Well, backing up just a little bit, in the beginning of this, everybody was a suspect. It wasn't that we immediately honed in on Sarah. Names were given to us of other individuals that could possibly have a motive or.
Wow. So in the beginning, she tried to push it off that somebody else could have done it until she got. Wonder if she thought she would be able to go scot-free all the way through adult life. I couldn't live with the thought of that happening. I just couldn't. Okay, so here we go.
Or something like that. So those people have to be ruled out, right? And we have to make sure at the end of the day that we feel confident that we are taking the right person in custody, especially when you're dealing with someone who is grieving possibly the loss of their parents. But throughout this investigation, as you've seen yourself through TikTok and other social media platforms, not only do you have all of that to sift through, but you may have phone records, you may have different types of geographical records that have to be sifted through as well. And unfortunately, that takes a lot of time to get those warrants back and be able to have somebody process all of that evidence. So we did not rush to judgment. She is just charged in this phase right now. So that is where we're at today.
So was there anything about Sarah Grace's 911 call that raised the hackles and made you think, red flag, time to look more deeply at her?
Not that I'm aware of. I believe that The story that we were given that morning, of course, was that the sister of Sarah Grace, the little girl, she was 5 at the time, she's 6 now, woke up and found her parents deceased and then came and told Sarah, who then made the 911 call.
You're saying it's a story. Are you saying it's just a story, or are you saying it's possibly accurate?
I'm telling you that the 911 call came in from Sarah after her sister found them, and that is all I know at this point.
So you still do believe that the 5-year-old, now 6-year-old child made the discovery and told Sarah about it?
Yes. And of course, we've conducted
Okay.
forensic interviews with the child as well.
Okay. That's always hard too. Wow, when they're 5 and 6 years old, those are really tricky.
Absolutely.
What about that eulogy, Ashley? The eulogy.
At 5 and 6 years old, the child can block it out of their mind and it not be a trigger as in everyday life, but the memory is always going to come back. It's like somebody's going to say something to her about, your mom and dad or something, and she's going to explain, this isn't my mom and dad. They just raised me after my sister unalived my mom and dad. So, but she can grow up and have a normal life and still have the memory, but not be as traumatized, or she can also be very traumatized by it. So it could go either way. I feel sorry for the poor little girl.
I found it hard to even understand. We put captioning on the screen because it seemed like she was terribly distraught. Was there anything in the eulogy that stood out to you that was a clue?
I was not personally there. We did have investigators that, of course, went to the funeral. I've said this before, in any situation where we don't make an arrest right away, we always want to be present, not only to support the family through their grief at the funeral, but to make sure that nothing stands out. I will say, to me, just watching it online, I can't tell you if she had real tears. I wasn't there to see it in person, but it seemed odd. It was more like a speech. And at the end, she said, I'm sorry. Was that, I'm sorry because I may have done this, or is it, I'm sorry because I was upset during this eulogy? We may never know the answer to that, but that did stand out to me at the time.
Then also the TikToks, the social media. Was there anything in the social media that you found odd, that you found, tweaked your interest to look further at her?
I didn't look at the TikToks other than what will be mentioned here. I didn't go on her TikTok because I'm not that savvy. I have a TikTok account, and whatever comes up on my TikTok is what comes up. I don't know how to look for people. So,
or that stood out as an absolute clue and was a piece of the puzzle.
So I'm not the investigator that investigated the case. I get this information from the investigators to pass on what I'm able to the public, but I can tell you that her social media was followed, and the trails still continue to be followed today, because when you want to post your life online, it becomes fair game during an investigation like this.
It's fascinating. There's one other thing that I found interesting. You said more arrests could be possible.
So I know that all the things that happen on YouTube are not things that need to be investigated. Don't get me wrong. I know this. But if you use her statement, this lady right here, her statement, if you use her statement where she says if you put your life out there online, as in TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, whatever, like what I'm doing right here talking with you, that makes it fair game in an investigation. Okay, but does it also make it fair game to anybody else on the same platform? to use your content, your life story? Does it make it fair game? You put it out there. Why doesn't it mean somebody else can use it? Now I'm not going to try to dox anybody or use anything or find it or give out any information that I know about somebody. But there are people out there that do. So let's go and see what happened on TikTok.
Can you elaborate a little on that?
So what we believe is through, interviews that we have had with Sarah, her father has been present during those as well. Different information that we've gotten throughout the course of the investigation, and now that she's in custody, could possibly lead to other individuals that may have been a part of this. So that is what we're following now, are those leads and seeing where that takes us. But we're not ruling it out.
When you say
Cinderella, thank you for being here. Yeah, it is. It is hard because there are other channels that are. This one's suing that one or trying to sue that one for seeing their channel, and I don't know the whole story, so I backed out of it. I backed away from it totally. But I just wonder if, according to this investigator, does it make it fair game? The fact that I'm a content creator, is my personal information fair game to be shared by anybody on YouTube because I post my personal information on my personal channel? Does that make it fair game because I put it out there? That's something to wonder about.
a part of this, do you mean a part of the actual killings, a part of the accessory after the fact, harboring, or what?
Well, it's
what
hard
are you
to
thinking?
tell. It's hard to tell, but I can tell you that we're looking at a couple of different aspects that someone could have been involved or had knowledge, and we won't know all those facts until we continue to work this case. It remains a very active and fluid case, and just because we made an arrest doesn't mean we don't still have a lot of work to do.
Ms. Halsey, is Sarah Grace cooperating? I know the last I heard they were looking for a public defender or maybe even a private defense attorney who might volunteer his or her services. But in the interim, is she cooperating with investigators and talking while in custody?
Up until the arrest, yes, she has been cooperative. Her dad has been cooperative. Any of the family that we've reached out to has been. I do believe that she has a public defender at this point. I have not been privy to the information since she has been placed in custody, so I don't know what those conversations have been since then.
But you think she was cooperating up until the arrest. You're just not sure if she's still cooperating since arrest. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Is there anything I'm missing that you can tell me that I haven't asked?
What I would say is this, one reason why I'm thankful to be given this platform to do these interviews is, as humans, we have conversations with people every day, and they may be very benign, but then you hear a little piece of something that happens, like Sarah Grace being arrested, and maybe you've had a conversation with Sarah, or maybe you've had a conversation with someone else within our community or within the social media world that maybe now means something different than it did then. So I would tell everyone that if you have a little piece of the puzzle that may help us, we urge you to contact the Carroll County Sheriff's Office, because it may seem insignificant, but it could actually be a big deal. And, our end goal is to provide justice for the victims.
All right, Cinderella says, I hate what the haters do in this genre. However, in another genre I follow, we truly fair game a grifter. She's about to go to jail because she's been exposed for crimes against the law. Wow. You troll the grifter. Wow. I don't know how to get into different genres on YouTube. I don't even know how to get my channel put out there into the true crime. But I just type hashtag true crime when I'm making my, did I do it today? Yeah, I did hashtag true crime to try to get it posted out there in the true crime community. I mean, I don't have anything to hide. If people troll me, then fine. But, you know, as long as I would ask that don't nobody start no trouble. So, don't start none, they won't be none. So, is it right to troll somebody? I don't think so. I wouldn't go out and troll anybody. But to happen upon their channel, like if it comes up on your YouTube feed, and to watch the channel and take important snippets out of the channel, like with a clips, I don't think that's trolling. But there's a fine line between, did it actually just come up on my list or did I go searching for it? So that would be hard to prove in court. But, you know, the fair use thing, if you're using somebody else's information like that, as long as you're not doxing them, I would think the only people, from what I've read, according to YouTube rules, the only people that can determine what's right and what's wrong is the YouTube attorneys. So, and they say what's right and what's wrong. So I just want to sit over here and keep my nose clean and hope my little channel grows and do the best I can about learning about these things. So it's in your conscience. If you feel like it's wrong to troll, then, you know, but if you feel like it's all right and you can justify it, so okay. Or if you're just watching and not actually participating, that's another story. I really don't know. I'm not gonna do it, but you know, I don't know. I really don't know. I would question myself as well. And my mom used to always say, if you have to question yourself, then don't do it. So, you know, maybe you can take advice from my mom. Rest your peace.
For the little girl, I mean,
Oh, yeah, I'm going to get off of this because I don't want to use the whole thing because I'll get in trouble. I have gotten videos from 3 months back that have been demonetized because they used too much of a news article, which my channels only made money, which I didn't even make money because I didn't have the right bank account attached to my YouTube because I had to change my debit card. So I didn't actually make the money. But I had 3 people that they won't be long before they lose their membership unless they renew it themselves. So let's go over here. It says she urges TikTok influencers to investigate her parents' unalivings. Now she's the suspect. Oh my goodness. And I don't think this will play. And we already read all this. They're my parents, and out there, nowhere, a random Thursday night in February, someone came in my house with me and my 5-year-old sister and pew-pewed my parents, brutally leaving them for me and my little sister to wake up to. Reads the message from Sarah Grace, according to screenshots Janice shared with people. So, I mean, this is supposed to be from Sarah Grace's. I think it would be a really big hit. CS, the only person who posted about it, made it as the first image you see when you Google their names. Plus, I can give you intel, just I can't give you anything that could break the case. That's what the cops told me. So she could give information, she just can't say what the information is that she could give. And here's another screenshot. From an investigative standpoint, it would seem that it was someone who knew them, hoping for answers and swift justice. Sarah Grace's most definitely was, since they knew the house. So she's telling on herself right there. She's telling on herself right there. In a video posted following Patrick's arrest, she shared a screenshot of a message from a user, also the same name, Sarah Grace, from April 16th. Mama Tot, I need a mama bad right now. I'm going through it. Let's see if we can see the video. How dare you reach out to me? Thank God I did not see this until today. But how dare you reach out to me like you need a mother, knowing what you are accused of doing to your own mother and father, and knowing that my son, go back, and knowing that my son was red-rummed. To say I am triggered is an understatement. I am literally about to walk into a courtroom for my son's homicide trial in 8 weeks. This is not okay. This is psychopathic. That mama was mad. Okay, when I clicked off the Facebook, it totally ended the stream. But, oh, wait. Here's the video, actually. Let's see, or a video. It's from NBC News. Georgia teen charged with unaliving her mother and stepfather earlier this year. The 17-year-old is accused in connection with the fatal popping of the couple in February. And here's her TikTok video.
One after another appearing to show Georgia teen Sarah Grace Patrick crying after authorities back in February said someone shot and killed her mom and stepdad, Kristen and James Brock, in their Atlanta area home.
Rain and thunder, the pain I'm under.
This video showing what appears to be her mother's remains in an urn. Another.
Wow. Rain and thunder, the pain I'm under. That reminds me of a prayer that Seth Rogers used in a vigil while he was looking for his son Sebastian, Wayne Drake Rogers. He said that same, it must be a quote out of the Bible or from their religion or something, because wow, it sounded like Seth Rogers saying the words.
Includes a link to a GoFundMe. On the screen, I just want my mama. Tonight, a stunning update from Georgia investigators.
We can confirm that an arrest has been made in the case. Kristen Brock's 17-year-old daughter, Sarah Grace Patrick, has been taken into custody.
Carroll County authorities confirming Patrick faces 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of aggravated assault. The recent Central High School graduate being charged as an adult, authorities saying her dad brought her to turn herself in Tuesday.
She turned herself in because we notified her she had warrants for her arrest.
Authorities remaining tight-lipped about any theories on a motive, but saying they have a mountain of physical and digital evidence and crediting collaborations with the FBI, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation's Crime Lab, even private forensic laboratories. Video online shows Patrick delivering eulogies for her mom and stepdad.
I was so used to you guys always being here. I didn't have a single clue how much I needed Joy until now.
The Carroll County Communications Director asked by reporters if they believe she covered up the crime.
Considering that she didn't just immediately tell us what happened, yes. But who knows what's going on in a young person's mind like that? It is an open, ongoing investigation. It's very possible others are involved as well.
The case sparking massive interest online among true crime enthusiasts. One claiming the teen reached out in the months before her arrest looking for help catching her parents' killer.
Why would you ask me to cover a case where you are going to get arrested for taking your parents' lives?
We spoke on the phone and we spoke via text.
This woman, who calls herself a family friend, posting last month that Patrick didn't hear anything on the night of the murders, except
She did hear James's LVAD machine, which is
That looks like Jay's for Justice. Or Every Day with Jay. Wow. That's what it looks like to me.
his heart machine that kept his heart pumping. She did hear that alarm going off throughout the night.
Sarah commenting on that video that she heard the alarm 10 to 20 minutes before going to bed, but said it was faint due to background noise. It's unclear tonight if she has an attorney. Her father posting this quote on Facebook Saturday saying, "To my daughter, never doubt your place in this world. I see you, I believe in you, and I'll always be in your corner." He told NBC News via phone, "It's just how I feel about my daughter." He said he's brokenhearted, adding it's just too early to speak without an attorney. And quote, "All I can really say is she's innocent until proven guilty."
And Maggie Vespa joins us now. I mean, Maggie, listening to that.
Well, if you, just like Brian Koberger, if you plead guilty, say you're guilty, turn yourself in, whatever, you kind of say you're guilty so you're not innocent anymore, even though you are granted a fair trial so that you can decide if you're guilty or you're innocent. I don't know. I know that I don't ever plan to be in that situation.
Georgia investigators saying, and I'm quoting here, that this is an open, ongoing investigation. She also said possible others could be involved. I mean, what are people that live in the area saying about this seemingly stunning development?
I mean, their minds are blown, Ellison. Keep in mind, this is a small rural area, a community about an hour west of Atlanta. This is a really tight-knit place, and suffice it to say, this is really rocking it to its core. It also kind of adds to that mystery that you're talking about, that investigators didn't go into detail as to what they called it, mountain of evidence was. So a lot of people really want to know, how did they figure out that they had enough to arrest her, enough to charge her? And then, as you point out, they said there could be others involved. But we're also seeing people who know the family posting about this case, just saying how shocking it is. One woman who said Kristen, the mom.
I'll be right back. I gotta go make sure I turn the stove off. Yep, I did. I didn't want CJ's supper to burn or the house to catch fire. Okay, let's go back.
Was her best friend, posted saying that her heart is shattered. She said, "My mind is blown." She goes on to say, obviously, she's innocent until proven guilty, talking about Sarah, but posted, quote, "We are grieving 3 people now with this arrest." Alice.
Yeah, they're grieving 3 people because you got 2 parents that have passed away and the daughter that committed the crime. Look at this little 5-year-old child. Was she the daughter of the stepdad, or was she the daughter of the real dad? Where is this 5-year-old child right now? What do we know about the little girl? She's going through so much right now. Where is this baby? Here's another one. It says, Georgia girl accused of fatally popping mom stepdad in Georgia. I messed that up. Blundered it totally. Girl accused of fatally popping mom stepdad in Georgia, charged as an adult. Well, the crime that she committed was an adult action crime. I remember when I used to live near Jonesboro, Arkansas, and I think was it 2001 maybe? 2000 maybe? I don't remember. I don't remember the year, but I remember the day. I don't remember the date, like today is 8/1. I remember that I was at work at Texaco because I was a food service handler at Texaco. And all of a sudden, we were swarmed with news crews, just swarmed with news crews. Every phone, because back then they still had pay phones, and every phone in the building was being used. There had been a popping at an elementary school 2 blocks down the road, and it was two fifth grade boys that got their grandpa's long weapon and had taken it to the school because a girl broke up with one of the boys. And they were tried as adults and spent time in juvie, in the juvenile prison system, until they turned 21. When they were turned 21, they were released. The system could no longer hold them because they were legal and binding adults. I don't know if she could get that lucky because she's 17. Could she end up in juvie till she's 21 and then walk free? I don't know. Well, you have to wait till the court case to find out. Teen girl in Georgia facing red rum charges in connection with the nearly 6-month-old killings of her mother and stepfather, law enforcement announced. USA Today does not typically name minor children with crime, but Patrick is being charged as an adult in this case. Carroll County Sheriff's Office spokesperson Ashley Hulsey said during live stream July 8th press conference. Now, we saw that press conference a little while ago. According to Hulsey, deputies on the morning of February 20th responded to the scene of the 1500 block of Carrollton Tyus Road, where they discovered the victims' bodies, both unalived from apparent pop wounds. Oh, that's my son telling me he can't make it home for lunch. Let me respond to him. Okay. So I won't see him until around 10 o'clock tonight. Okay, so according to investigation, the youngest child was home at the time of the slayings. Motive in case involved teen accused of unaliving mom and stepdad. Following a lengthy investigation by local, state, and federal agencies, Patrick was taken into custody and charged with 2 counts of red rum and 2 counts of aggravated assault in connection with the unalivings, officials wrote in a case release. A motive has not yet been identified in the case, Hulsey told reporters during the news conference. Okay. So the reason I kept reading like I did was because I'd like to know what the motive is. And it says Hulsey said Patrick's father brought her to the sheriff's office to turn herself in on July 8th after being notified that there was a warrant out for her arrest. Now, I don't know what the warrant could have been for. Maybe a driving ticket or anything else, because they never say what the warrant was for. Our prayers remain with the families of James and Kristen Brock, and especially with their younger daughter who was at home during this horrific crime. The Carroll County Sheriff's Office posted on its Facebook page, "We also want to extend our heartfelt thanks to the community that rallied for justice and never gave up hope." It was not immediately known where the suspect was being detained when she was due in court next, or whether she had obtained an attorney in the case. USA Today has reached out to the sheriff's office for more information. On July 10th, it has not received a response. Anyone with information about the case is asked to call sheriff's office, and there we go. And like I said every day, these are the best shoes there is. I wear them every day. See, even neurologists are amazed by it. And neurologist is like your neuropathy and your nerves and all that stuff. Okay. I'm not a spokesperson for them shoes, but man, I would be. I got a pair on my feet right now. Breaking news, 4 dead in mass popping at Montana bar. Wow. Wow. Well, we know what we're going to talk about tomorrow, don't we? All right. So we're going to, maybe by tomorrow there'll be more information. And I don't know how much information there is now. So, close this out. Okay. I won't be able to see my chat rather than. Okay, father of a teen charged with red rum says she didn't show any red flags. This was July 29th, 2025 at noon. Let's listen to what he had to say. Listen.
Sarah's innocent. I know 100% in my heart that Sarah's innocent. She's a typical 17-year-old that, lived like a teenager, and she would never do this. And to all the people out there that are criticizing her online and stuff like that, I hope that you never have to go through this, because as a father, this has been one of the most hurtful things in my life.
I want to say I would feel the same way if one of my children was in the position, but I'd also want, before I encouraged my child to turn themselves in, I would want all of the truth, all of the facts. I would want to know everything.
I'm sorry, but it's just hard, Yeah. You sit around and you watch TV and you never see yourself in this position talking to people like you. I know 100%.
Okay. He says he never imagined being in that position. He says he believes his daughter 100%. He says he thinks she's innocent. He's crying while he's saying he thinks she's innocent, which to me, I've watched enough Deception Detective that I think I would say, just slightly say that no, she's not innocent. He is claiming that he believes she is innocent. All right, let's see what it says. Dad of teen Sarah Grace Patrick blasts cops in double red rum case. So he's not happy with the way the cops are handling things. So let's see what's going on there. Oh, let me pull him up here. I don't have my moderator, so there's nothing on the screen. There's nothing on the screen. Okay.
If they say they have a mountain of evidence, that folder was pretty thin.
That is the father of the girl accused of shooting and killing her mom and stepdad as they slept. In his first interview, Sarah Grace Patrick's dad says law enforcement has the wrong person. What he says happened with investigators during a 4-hour interrogation with his daughter right before she was arrested.
At the end of it, they started throwing pictures of her parents at us, her stepdad and her mom, deceased with gunshot wounds.
We're on the case presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. I just spoke to the biological father of Sarah Grace Patrick. This is his first interview since her arrest and since she's been accused of killing her mom and stepdad. Daniel Patrick says his daughter lived with him in the months after her mom and stepdad were murdered inside their home in Carrollton, Georgia. Daniel used to be married to Kristen Brock. He says they divorced in 2019, and then she went on to marry James Brock, who became Sarah Grace Patrick's stepfather. On February 20th of this year, the Brocks were found dead inside their home. Their stepdaughter, Sarah Grace Patrick, called 911. She said that her 5-year-old half-sister found the Brocks dead in their bed, and
when I'm down and don't feel good, I comfort in the little girl. Love you, Angel Cakes, Kristen Brock. Huh. This must be a picture of her with her puppy, and he's telling her that she brings him joy when he's not feeling happy. That's so sweet.
then alerted Sarah Grace, who called the authorities. For the days, weeks, and months after the murders, Sarah Grace Patrick was very public on TikTok. She mourned the loss of her mom and stepdad, and she also reached out to content creators to have them cover the story.
Y'all, this is Sarah Grace, and she messaged me back on June 3rd and just said, search up Brock case.
She also spoke at her mom and stepdad's funeral.
Never take a hug or anyone or anything for granted, and live with all that you have in you like they did. And lastly, not taking people for granted. I want to thank my family, also known as my cattle fam, my grandparents, my siblings, Jaylee, Donnie, Jaden, JoJo, Trent, Tristan, Ashley, and Jesse for helping me get through my worst nightmare. And last but not least, I want to thank Tasha, Bree, Nate, Lane, Kimberly Hayes, Kim Bowling, Katie, and most of all, my father, Angie, and Ben for making. Jamie and Mama would have thanked y'all too. I love you guys, and so do they. I'm sorry.
Law enforcement and James Brock's family have told us that they found that speech to be scripted and inauthentic. And they also found it odd that Sarah said sorry at the end of the eulogy. But you'll hear what Sarah Grace's dad has to say about that in just a moment. Daniel Patrick is Sarah Grace Patrick's dad. He says that his daughter is 100% innocent. He was with her during an interrogation the day before warrants were issued for her arrest. He says she also lived with him after the murders for 4.5 months. He drove her to the sheriff's office to turn herself in after they were told that Sarah was going to be charged with the murders of the Brocks. He spoke with me in his...
Okay, so that's what the warrant was for. They had a warrant for her arrest with the charges of the red rums already. So I guess they had enough evidence that they felt like they could get a warrant.
his first interview since his daughter's arrest. Here's what he had to say. Joining me now is Daniel Patrick, who is Sarah Grace Patrick's dad. Thank you for taking the time to be with us on Law and Crime. There's a lot that I want to get to, but let's just begin with, I know it was a tough day, the day that you learned your daughter was going to be arrested. What was your reaction when you heard that news that that's what police were going to do?
I was in shock, first of all, and it really it broke my heart. And I was just scared for my daughter, not knowing what was going to happen next.
Law enforcement had said that you had to take her to, I guess they had called, and then you brought her to the police station. I mean, what was that whole process like for you, and how it all went down?
So the whole process was the day before, they brought us in for a witness impact statement, is what they were saying, and they were supposed to give property back. When we went in there to allow my daughter to talk, they interrogated her, and we were there for maybe 4.
Okay. Every picture we have seen of this young lady, she has not been wearing makeup. Now all of a sudden in this TikTok video, a couple of them actually, she's got mascara streaming down her face, but it's not even up by her eyes. It's pulled down underneath where she's got this lack of sleep stuff going on. And she may be actually crying, or she could have put Visine in her eyes. You know what I'll say about that? Hold on. A bullshit. That's what I say about that. This right here is fake and phony, in my opinion.
4 hours or so, and my daughter told them everything that they wanted to know multiple times. At the end of it, they started throwing pictures of her parents at us, her stepdad and her mom, deceased with gunshot wounds. And we stopped. As a father, she was considered a minor at the time, so I stopped the interview and told them that we were not going to talk no more, and they let us go. I asked them if they were arresting her, and they said no. And about 2 hours later, I guess it was, I received a call from them saying that I have to turn her in by 10 o'clock in the morning, or else they would send out the U.S. Marshals. So I talked to my daughter. She was actually headed back to Alabama to be with one of her friends. And I talked to her, and the lady that lives with me that I'm renting from, she went straight to Alabama and picked my daughter up, and we spent the night together. And then 10 o'clock in the morning, we complied. We didn't turn her in, but we came in and we did what they asked.
Before we get back to this story, we need to take a break and bring you a Law and Crime legal alert. If you received a Depo-Provera birth control shot and were later diagnosed with a brain or spinal tumor called meningioma, you may be eligible for a lawsuit. Our partners at Morgan & Morgan are investigating claims that patients weren't properly warned about this risk. It is free to check. You're in there were you in the room with her for the full 4 hours of the interview?
Yes, sir.
Because I know police have said, law enforcement, that their words were like, we have a mountain of evidence against Sarah Patrick. Do you have any indication of what that mountain is, of what they think that they have on your daughter?
I can't really speak too much to the evidence. I don't want to talk too much, but if they say they have a mountain of evidence, that folder was pretty thin. That's all I will say. So they showed us a little bit of stuff, but I without attorneys around, I don't really want to.
But what he doesn't know is they could have a baker's box in another room that he can't see, and they just pulled out one folder and brought in. It could be full of folders. Because I've seen when they go to court, like in the Sarah Daybell trial, they had and in the what was her name? Quentin Simon case, the attorney was turning around, opening this just rows of banker's boxes to pull out folders that, I mean, they have a lot of information.
Speak of that evidence. So, but the evidence that they did show us did not add up at all.
Going back to, and I know it's a tough day to go back to, February 20th, when all of this happened, what did Sarah say to you about what she witnessed that night?
Well, I got a call that morning. I was going to work, and normally my daughter would call me or text me before going to school, telling me she loves me and have a good day. And I answered the phone, I believe it was around 7:40 to 7:45, and nobody was talking. So I thought that she had just butt dialed me, as most people would say. I was headed to work, and 15 minutes later, I received a call from the ambulance, because they put her in an ambulance first, her and her sister. And they told me that Kristen and James were deceased. And from there, I broke down because I didn't know what was going on. They asked me to come pick her up. At the time, I didn't even know the address. I've only been there to that house during our custody battle for the children once. And then one time whenever Kristen had been arrested, I had to go pick up my child and bring them home. And then this was the third time, and it took 20 or 30 minutes just to figure out an address, because nobody was talking to me. Nobody was letting my daughter call back. I received a message that she would be up at the sheriff's station, and I went to the sheriff's station to pick her up. Kristen's mother was there. You know, it was a very, very hard morning. They took her back for questioning, and I was in the room, and we just did what they asked us to do. I thought nothing of it. We didn't have any kind of clue of what the nature of the crime was.
So, wow, you would think, I don't know. I don't understand I've only been there 3 times or 1 time or whatever have you, and him not being able to know how to get back there. I don't understand that. Personally, I probably couldn't go someplace and then come back and then be able to go back there again, because I just don't have that kind of a mind. And he might not either. But my husband, being a man, and my dad was the same way. I don't know if it's because my husband is a truck driver and my dad was a police officer, but my father-in-law is the same way. It was the same way. If they've been there 1 time, they can get back there 100 years later. I don't know what it is. But, so I don't know how he could not know, because he'd have to know a general vicinity of where they lived. You know, he'd have to know something general.
Talked to the detectives, and from there, they took a break in between, and they were like, "Would you like to go outside, get a breath of air, smoke a cigarette, or whatever?" And that's what I did. I came back into the room, and they were interrogating her without my permission. She was 16 at the time. And then from there, they let us go. We were there for quite a few hours. I know they were doing their job because that's what they're supposed to do. But from there, we just went home.
Over the past 4.5, 5 months since it happened, and then when the Carroll County Sheriff's Office said that she was going to be charged with these murders. I mean, what indication did you get that they were looking at her as a suspect during that time?
Well, I got no indication at all because they weren't talking to me because I was not next of kin. They were talking to, of course, Dennis and, James is next to kin. So I never heard from them for 4.5 months. I just, we were starting to try to get over the situation. We were still in mourning, and they called, like I said, they called us up and asked us to come in, said that they were going to give back property like my daughter's phone and some jewelry and stuff like that. And so we went in, and that's how everything happened the other day when they took out the warrants.
What was, and I know that the sheriff had said, or the sheriff's office spokesperson for them, that Sarah had lived with the Brocks like short term. What was kind of the living, like how long, how would you characterize what, and I know it's difficult with divorce, and divorce is complicated, and this is tough, but what was the relationship, I guess, between Sarah and the Brocks?
She loved them. She loved them with all her heart. Me and Kristen, we got divorced 2019. She got with James in 2018.
Well, you know now why they got divorced.
My kids lived with her for about a year, and then Kristen got in a little bit of trouble, and I went back to the courts during COVID and fought for custody, and I won full custody of both of my kids, and they came home with me. I went through a divorce, and after my divorce, I wasn't stable. I was working and everything like that, but Kristen and James had more to provide as far as at home, school systems and stuff like that. And it was my daughter's choice to go back and live with them. And I allowed it because I thought that things were getting better, and we went from there. And so Sarah's been with them, I think, since 2023.
Did she have, and I know you said that she loved them. There's been a lot of talk about her social media, and we can talk about that in a moment, but was there any sort of issue she had with them at all that would have, for people looking at this and hearing what the sheriffs are saying, like any sort of problem in the house that could have led to something?
I wouldn't say there was any kind of problem in the house. I think that she was just a normal teenager growing up, and when she didn't get her way, she called me, and when she didn't get her way with me, she called them. It's just a typical teenager. There wasn't many problems in the house. I mean, other than sometimes, their punishments, was different than my punishments. But other than that, no, there was actually no problems in the home that I knew of at all.
For you, I know she had lived with you since the deaths of the Brocks. Were there any?
So anyway, you keep your mouth shut. That's really good. That's, I think, very wise. Watch from the shadows. Okay, the link is in the description if you want to watch the rest of that interview. I think we got the gist of it. The dad was not happy with the law enforcement and the way they handle it, asking him, do you want to go outside and smoke? And then interrogate the daughter while he was out there, and him walking in, and them being still interrogating her, and him like, okay, this job's over. And then they get the arrest warrant and everything. It's just not right. It's just not. There's something not right about the case. I'm on the fence. I want to say, as in Brian Koberger, if she pleads guilty, she's guilty. She didn't actually plead guilty. She just had a warrant for her arrest and turned herself in. So I'm sure there's going to have to be a trial. Okay. We're going to go to Vinny Capote. Court TV. If it'll play.
Sarah's grandfather, Kristen's father, Court TV field reporter Cody Thomas.
Video is bad or in format that can't be played on your browser. Media error code, technical detail. Wow, really? How about if I do a refresh my screen?
Sarah's grandfather, Kristen's father, Court TV field reporter Cody Thomas, joining me live in studio tonight. Cody, there's no other way to describe it other than a family tragedy. And this is the man in the middle of all of it. What does he think about the charges against his granddaughter?
Well, Vinny, it's interesting because the grandfather, Dennis Nolan, is standing firmly in her innocence. Now, he, of course, is a father of 4. He has 3 sons, 1 daughter. That daughter, we, of course, know Sarah's mom no longer with us. And, you know, I asked him why he is standing so strong in her innocence. Here's what he had to say.
Here we are 5 months later, here in July. Your granddaughter, Sarah Grace Patrick. She's the one now behind bars facing the charges in these murders. What are the feelings? What are the emotions? And I understand that you're standing by her side. You believe she's innocent.
Oh, I mean, I'm just in total shock. I mean, because she, you know, first of all, the length of time that's passed and the fact that they arrested her without any evidence that I know of. Everything seems circumstantial, and I think they were just desperate to arrest someone and to try and, because the case was open for months. A lot of investigation. I know they tried hard to find the murder weapon. They tried hard to find who was involved. They investigated a lot of people. And for them to charge Sarah without, you know, and I'll say this, the investigator told me the day they issued the warrant, when I asked him, I said, well, what proof why did you pick on Sarah? He said, well, she's the only one who could have done it. And that's a quote. But and that's, you know, to me, that's not enough proof to throw a 17-year-old girl in jail. And you take a 100-pound girl and you hand her a 9mm pistol and you ask her to fire it, who doesn't have a lot of, I mean, I don't know if Sarah had ever shot a gun before. I mean, she was here, and whenever we shot guns, they were rifles.
The recoil on a 9mm, I've shot one. Well, it'll knock me back. So, and I weigh 150 pounds. So, to a 90-pound child, the recoil would knock her down. And then the other parent would have a chance to get up and defend the first parent. I'm climbing the fence a little bit here. Just starting to climb the fence a little bit. Does Grandpa make sense?
Never saw her shoot a pistol, but I just can't imagine, the accuracy that gun had in her hands. I don't think it could happen. Mm-hmm. I think that, a 9mm has a recoil, and it's going to, be hard for her as a novice to speak of, to fire as accurately as it was fired with the evidence that we know. I just don't think physically she could do it.
So, Vinny, the important part of that right there that I took from that is he was pretty much saying that Sarah had no gun experience. She was a novice at shooting guns, especially handguns. She might have dropped it if, according to him, if she would have shot it. And again, Vinny, you have to remember, this is a man who has, of course, lost his daughter this year and now could potentially lose his granddaughter to the justice system. So the emotions are running pretty high in that family right now.
Right, and they haven't found the murder weapon, so there's no weapon in this case. What did he say about the family dynamic? Now, I know for this family, it's a little complicated, right? Because some children are from different marriages.
Right, and so I asked him, because I was trying to see if there was any sort of, even in the slightest, a motive as to why this could have happened. But Mr. Nolan told me that the family was just as normal as any other family. Of course, they had their disagreements about things, as every family does, but he didn't see anything out of the ordinary. And he also touched on Sarah's relationship with her biological father as well. Take a listen.
There was nothing, DJ, her father, he's a good person, and he and Kristen got along very well. They had their disagreements, but they had been divorced for so long that they got along quite well, and they were cooperative, and Sarah would go visit him at times. The statement was made that Sarah was sort of like a nomad, that she lived in different places. Well, that's not true. I mean, she lived with Kristen, my daughter, from as long as I can remember, as long as they owned that house, which was quite a few years. And, she would go stay with her father once in a while. But the only time I know that she moved anywhere was after this murder. And, she needed a place to live. They had their disagreements, just like any teenage daughter would have.
Yeah, teenagers can be hard. But point being taken from that, and the link is in my description if you want to see the rest of that interview. The grandpa thinks his granddaughter did not do this to his daughter. Grandpa's got granddaughter's back. And I can see his point. Like the Vinny said, or was it the other guy? I don't remember. But like they said, they've already lost one. They don't want to lose two. So, I mean, of course, nobody does. Don't get me wrong. Nobody does. Nobody does. So, okay. So on the next page, it says this is going to go to Georgia, the Daily Mail. I'm sorry. Hi, H. Davis. Welcome back. That wasn't a very long nap. Okay. So this says, disappear for one. Oh, that's an advertisement. Okay. So from the Daily Mail, it says, Georgia teen accused of unaliving mom and stepdad was caught in bitter custody war as her father branded victims unfit parents. Okay. The 17-year-old accused of red rumming her mother and stepfather was at the center of a bitter custody battle in which her biological dad accused the victims of abusing Rudd and being unsafe to care for her, DailyMail.com can reveal. It is just one of the revelations DailyMail.com has unearthed about the tangled past of Sarah Grace Patrick after the teenager was charged with the double homicide of her mother. I don't know why I'm yawning. Kristen Brock, 41, and stepdad James Brock, 45, which she denied doing. Ever since the teen turned herself in on July 8th, online true crime groups have speculated about what drove an angel-faced teen to allegedly unalive her mother and stepdad. I can tell you. Same thing every teen goes through. They don't like authority. They think they're old enough that they can fend for themselves. They can cook their own pasta. They can wash their own dishes. They can do their own laundry. They can make their own bed. What do I need mom and dad for other than to pay the bills? So, I mean, I went through it. When I married my first husband, the only reason I married him was to move out of mom and dad's house. But we ended up living with mom and dad. So that was that. Authorities have not yet revealed a motive, but the late couple's loved ones have hit out at victim blaming and denied their past had anything to do with their red rums at their home in Carrollton, 45 miles west of Atlanta on February 20th. But court documents seen by Daily Mail provided an insight into the accused teen's often chaotic childhood, which appeared to have been blighted by her mom and stepfather alleged drug abuse. In 2018, Danielle, like it's like Daniel, only it's with an O. Danielle Patrick filed for divorce from his wife, Kristen Nolan Patrick, after a 10-year marriage during which they had Sarah Grace and her younger brother, Donnie, 12, while living in Ackworth, Georgia. Okay, where's Donnie at? We've never heard Donnie's name before. Where was he living? In court papers, Danielle, 43, demanded joint legal custody of the kids with primary physical custody of the party's minor child, and that any visits between his estranged wife and the children be supervised until she could prove she was clean and sober. Under their July 8, 2018 divorce order, the parent agreed on joint legal custody of the children with primary physical custody given to the mother and the father seeing them on alternate weekends and holidays. So after he's fighting for sole custody because the mom has a rug problem, then all of a sudden he's giving primary custody to her. Something doesn't seem right. I smell fish in Georgetown. Sarah's father, Daniel Patrick, appeared visibly anguished during a visit to the daughter at Carroll County Jail in Georgia on July 13th. Before her alleged actions, he had spent years locked in a bitter custody battle with his now deceased ex, Kristen. Yeah, it's horrible. I don't know why he would break down he should have held strong for his stance. Maybe this would, well, if he'd have held strong and he'd have been the one that had full custody, and if he had remarried or he's living in the same house as his landlord, they could both be alive right now. I don't know. I don't know. Trying to get past the commercial. Okay. That just made me want a sausage and egg McGriddle. I don't like sausage, but I like it that way. Okay. Sarah Grace Patrick's with apostrophe S, chilling social media post before she was charged with parents' red rum. Sarah Grace Patrick, who has been charged with red rumming her mom and stepdad, excuse me, that was so rude of me. It was my egg salad, I'm sorry. I had egg salad sandwich for supper. And stepdad made tearful TikTok posts after their unaliving. Picture Carroll County Sheriff's Office. This is her on TikTok. At least I have my mom. How can she have her mom? This is her at the sheriff's office. A teen girl suspected of unaliving her mom and stepdad. Mom. Who says that? Are they British? Mom and stepdad shared several social media posts after their unalivings and appeared to show her devastation. Sarah Grace, 17, now has been charged with 2 counts of red rum and 2 counts of aggravated assault following the shootings of Kristen Brock and James Brock in the U.S. After their deaths on February 20th, Patrick posted several times on social media speaking of her heartbreak and sharing selfies of herself crying. One TikTok post in March, she showed pictures of the couple with emotional music and text that read, "They don't know it, but a year from now, me and my 5-year-old sister would find them wrongfully shot, unalived, in our home, and they won't get to watch me graduate from high school, see me walk down the aisle, or even say goodbye." That's very sad. In a caption, she wrote, "I miss you guys. Save a seat for me in heaven." Patrick, who handed herself into police last week, also made a tearful eulogy at the couple's funeral that was filmed and shared online. James's niece, Kristen Dowda, said she thought at the time the crying seemed fake with no actual tears. The Brocks were pop dead in their beds and their home in Carrollton, west of Atlanta. Teen sweeps in TikTok video before handing herself in for red rum of mom and stepdad. So how do they know that she snuck that in right before she went to hand herself in? Okay, police said there were no signs of forced entry and nothing appeared stolen. One of Patrick's TikToks shows her with mascara running down her face and the words, "Life's hard, but at least I have my mom." Now, how can she have her mom if she unalived her mom? In another post, she shares a picture of herself looking emotional with the text, "This can't be real," on the way to my parents' funeral. I just want my mama. Patrick has been charged with the red rums of both Kristen and James. Picture from Facebook. So I mean, and even she's got, just like Brian Koberger, she's got her followers. No confession. Friends of mom unaliver Sarah Patrick Grace defend teen's tear-soaked funeral speech that tipped copped off to her crime. Let's see what this is.
Bear with me because I stutter a lot. I just wanted to say goodbye to my mama and Jamie since we never got the chance to. I was so used to you guys always being here to the point that I never once thought to imagine y'all not being here. I didn't have a single clue how much I needed y'all until now. For James, thank you for all the life lessons you taught me and for being the best bonus dad ever. Your heart will finally be healed in heaven and neither of y'all will be in any pain anymore. Although that gives me so much comfort, your fight was not supposed to end there. And for my mother, everything we went through does not define what kind of person or what kind of mother you were. You were a beautiful, kind soul with so much gratitude and so gosh dang strong. And you taught me so many life lessons, and so many you just recently taught me through a letter you sent to James in 2018. When I first read it, I smiled and I cried, and I got chill bumps. But every single time I read it, it puts me in a lot of peace. I know that everything happens for a reason. I can choose to let it define me, confine me, refine me, outshine me, or I can choose to move on and leave it behind me. Always, Kristen Brock. Glad that they will save a seat for me in heaven like they saved a seat for me in this very church. Although there's nothing we can do to bring them back, we still have control over how we treat people with us today. Therefore, when someone tries to tell you anything, no matter how important it could be, just listen, because you never know when it's somebody's time to go.
We can confirm that an arrest has been made in the case. Kristen Brock's 17-year-old daughter, Sarah Grace Patrick, has been taken into custody. She turned herself in because we notified her she had warrants for her arrest. Considering that she didn't just immediately tell us what happened, yes. But who knows what's going on in a young person's mind like that. It is an open, ongoing investigation. It's very possible others are involved as well.
Wow. Okay. Then I went to Grok. I like Grok. Thank you to the mob crew for introducing me to Grok. You go in to Grok and you type in your question. Has a court date for Sarah Grace Patrick been set yet? Okay. According to Grok, it says a court date for Sarah Grace Patrick has not been set as of the latest available information. Court records indicate that a motion for bond was filed July 11, 2025 by her public defender, LaToya Williams, but no specific hearing date has been scheduled, and she remains in jail awaiting the hearing. I'm thinking since she's about to turn 18, I mean, they carried Koberger's case out 2 years. If they carry her case out 2 years, then she'll be 18. And she will be tried as an adult. Then they won't have to let her out at 21. I think that's where that's going, right there. But that's just me. And that was also featured in thedailymail.com. But it was from Grok. So there we go. We have a 17-year-old girl being accused of unaliving her mom and stepdad. The police told her real dad that they were issuing a warrant for her arrest and she needed to come turn herself in, or they were going to bring the Supreme Court out and federal investigators to come and apprehend her. So out of, I'm supposing, fear, she goes and turns herself into the police. Okay, so why? I mean, I know why. But why are Kristen and James unalived? So maybe that'll come out in the trial. Now, I hope they don't drag it on, because if they find out somebody else is guilty of this and she's been in jail for 1-2 years, she's now 18. If they find out somebody else is guilty and she's not the guilty party, I still don't understand how the children or child didn't hear something. And if she was asleep in her room, how could she not hear something? And then the monitor for his LVAD, which was a heart monitor, I learned from watching Grey's Anatomy. Izzy Stevens' boyfriend was on LVAD, and Izzy cut the LVAD wire, and he was no longer alive. But he got the new heart, and then he ended up dying anyway. His body rejected it. So I know what an LVAD wire is. I've never seen one be used. I was a certified nursing assistant for 6 years, but I never saw that. I worked in a step down ICU. I didn't work in an actual hospital. So, okay. With that being said, if I find out when her trial is going to be, I will keep y'all posted. In the meantime, I am going to look at police respond to shooting in downtown Pittsburgh. That's not the one that I wanted to know about. Which one did I just get the email about? Metro. Okay. I don't have anything new from Metro, but I saw it come in. MN. Corporation for Public Broadcasting was shut down after being defunded by Congress, targeted by Trump. Okay, so I guess it was the police respond to a shooting in downtown Pittsburgh. We will I guess we'll check on that. Unless I can find something with more information, because there's not very much information on that story. I guess I could pull it up right now, because I know it doesn't pertain to what we're doing, but this came in right while we were. So it's got photos, and then it says autoplay.
That's because a recent ruling stopped loan cancellations. Lee Waldman explains the changes and why you may want to check your accounts.
Attention. No, that has nothing to do with it. Autoplay. It's just pictures of them there. It doesn't say anything about it. Let's see if there's anything on this one.
Student loan borrowers enrolled in the SAVE plan.
Nothing. I don't see anything more about it. It just says shows pictures, but they're not very. The pictures don't tell very much of a story. Huh.
On August 1st, the Department of Education will resume charging interest on your loans.
Okay. It says 2 people shot in downtown Pittsburgh. Police looking for suspect. I don't know why this box is so big right here. I don't like it. Click here for photos. Allegheny County dispatcher said the initial call was reported in the area of Penn Avenue and Garrison Place at 4:20 p.m. Read more. Pittsburgh police said a man and woman were both popped. The woman was found in the area of Penn Avenue and Garrison Place and had been popped in the leg. The man was found a block down the street and had been popped in the arm and leg. They were taken to the hospital for treatment and are stable condition. Police are looking for a suspect at this time. 2 people were to be detained for questioning, but are not in custody. Police said there is no active threat to the community. Channel 11's Rich Pierce is at the scene and will provide live updates on Channel 11 News at 6 p.m. This is a developing story. Check back for updates as more information becomes available. Okay, do y'all want me to see what I can find out about that for tomorrow? I can keep this up on my screen and see if anything develops. So if it does, I'll do that. Tomorrow's Saturday. See, I have to go to Wichita tomorrow. I have to ride my 6 miles. I think I can get it all in before time for my live tomorrow, I think. So anyway, I thank y'all for being here. You could have been anywhere on this Friday. Friday. Let's go enjoy the weekend. Do something nice for someone, even if it's just be the reason they smile. Thank you for being here, and get well.